Very good. And how can I help you today?
I wanted to keep talking to you about the progress with the eighth dimensionals. Have
Yes.
have they had any more discussions with you?
Well, we have had one short discussion. Um, Actually, it was with me and with a couple others. Uh, we were we were at a little function that they had, and they invited us to it to listen
Oh,
to their kind of music,
oh wow,
to
Nice.
get an idea of what they listen to.
wow,
That's
that's
very
so
nice.
nice.
So it was a short concert. It was only about maybe 40 minutes.
Hmm.
But it was interesting. It was electronic sounding. But it did have some music in it. Not a whole lot, but a little bit. Gave us some example of what they like to listen to, and was very educational because I asked. They had a question uh, afterwards and said, "What did you think? Where? What are your questions?" Uh, we thought it was. I thought it was amazing that they even had music. So my first thought was, "This is amazing." But my second thought was this: uh, what does this music do for you? How do you feel when you listen to it? What does it take you? Does it stimulate um, an emotional response? Does it stimulate a mental response? Because I get the feeling that with them, this is more of a mental music. It more stimulates thought process than it does emotions. And so, yes, I was right because their answer was it makes us think. It makes us feel happy in our thoughts, but it was mostly about the brain and how it affects the brain and what joy it brings them to listen to this. And but it wasn't a lot of joy. It wasn't like they were ecstatic when they were listening to this. It was more like they were stimulated, if you know what I mean. They just felt more stimulated mentally, and that made them happy. So some of them actually said that it made them feel deeper, and didn't. I questioned that. I said, "What does that mean that you feel deeper? What does it mean that it stimulates a deeper thought?" And they were telling me that when they do not listen to music, when they just are not listening to any sounds or maybe just usually what they usually listen to is water running or birds singing or things of that nature, and that affects them in some ways as well. They consider that music as well, but deeper thought meant that it would stir something in their thought process that wasn't usually apparent to them. So that was something that we thought was very interesting. Uh, oh, um, Also, because it made them more aware of something within themselves. So this new awareness with music uh, was interesting. So we went on to question the difference between our music and their music, and what our music did differently that their music did. They felt their music. What did our music do differently? And they were saying that our music brought made them feel, some of them made them feel uncomfortable. And I said, why does it make you feel uncomfortable? Because they said, well, we haven't experienced that sort of vibration before. So I said, if you just relax, would that make a difference? Would it be if you had a glass of blurb or something like that to calm you down? Would that make a difference if you were listening to the music? And it stimulated an interesting conversation back and forth about how we feel about our different types of music. So, but it came around that um, we did ask, um, would you like to have another concert? Would you like to hear it again? The vote was about 120 to 60 for. They would, yes.
Yeah, that's really great.
120 of them voted for it, and 60 of them voted against it.
Yeah,
That was about the split, somewhere in that area. And so we said, all right, so that democratically you have voted that you would like to hear us again. When would you like to hear us again? And the first answer was, give us a little time. We're still negotiating this and that and the other thing with this and that and the other person. So, because the 8th and 9th dimensionals are not the same, they are still having some problems with each other. So, we said, all right, we'll give you some time. So they did not actually give us a date, but they said late August. It would be, according to their time span, it would be probably around late August that they would want another concert. So we said, please give us a date whenever you're ready, and we will be working on having or getting something together that will be different, more very similar, but different music. So we will use more of the plasma music, more of the just the amazing music you have, as well as many other things that are going on, many different musics from different areas, Arcturian, Syrian, Hathor music. Yes, we're going to Pleiadian. So it's going to be an interesting concert. A lot of people are bringing in pieces of music that they think that we should do, and I'm introducing your music, of course. So the plasma and the newest thing that you have developed. What do you call that?
The last thing that I said was it was going to be called the most perfect music. But then after I listened to that, it's too boring to be perfect all the time. So I'm going to go back a step and remake it. What I started to do before I got to that point, I was mixing more Indian music, American Indian. Are you familiar
Yes.
with American Indian?
Oh, of course.
Yeah, that's considered very spiritual healing music. And I've listened to that over the years of Indian music, and people always thought it was very spiritual, but I couldn't find any that I resonated to, or that the frequencies didn't feel right. They didn't feel very high. But just a few weeks ago, I found two recording artists that were Indians, and I listened to their music, and their frequencies were as high as my frequencies, and so I could mix their music with mine, and it was so beautiful, and it came together. So it
Was
had
it
Indian.
Was it flute music?
It had some flute, and there's a singer, this Indian female singer that's just fabulous. She can make herself sound like a bird, and she sounds like the wind, and she can just make all these sounds. She just becomes the spirit. And I mixed.
Excellent.
And I thought that would be something really interesting for them to listen to. This person that just knows how to be the atmosphere and the wind. And I blend that into our plasma music, and it's very nice together because her frequencies are so high, and that flute player, the frequencies were high, and it blended in with ours nicely. So I'm going to go back and try to work with that more and try to get the balance better, because I felt like just the perfect moments. It's really nice for sleeping, but it might be
Excellent. Could
be
you get that done
boring.
before the end of this month?
Oh, definitely, within a week or two.
Good, because we would like to start working on that.
Yes, I will have. I won't be talking.
And we will put that on their chips for the next set
Yes.
of listening pleasures
Yes.
for them, and so that will be good. because
Yes.
that's something different and unusual that they have not heard yet.
Yes. Definitely within 2 weeks, it will be done perfectly by
Excellent,
then.
excellent. Because what is it? The 21st. If yes, perhaps by July 5th or
Perfect.
6th,
Perfect. Yes.
and then I will beam that up
Wonderful.
digitally.
And most of that is already. There was an album set called Marie France Bluin's Magic Birthday album, and it's already
Oh
in
yes,
there. So you've heard that. So that's what I'm talking about. So you've already heard
yes.
it. I was just going to try to make it more perfect than it was, but you can do that
Oh,
yourself. You can make it more perfect, much better than
it's
I can.
actually very good. Um,
There's just some
it has some very
imbalance.
high frequencies and very high moments in it.
Hmm.
Not all of it's usable, but I think most of it is.
Hmm. So you know what I'm talking about. You that there's that Indian singer in there. It's very interesting.
Yes, not all of that is usable, but most of it is. I think most of it is, yes.
Yeah. So that's basically what I'll just be working on making that more perfect. So you already have it. You know what I'm talking about.
Yes, we know what that is, yes. We did not send that to them yet. That's something that you just found recently, and
Hmm.
well, we knew about it, but that is not something that we had sent along in the first set with them. So we will be able to expand uh, our and their listening uh, musics, and uh, we're going to use some of more of Joe's music as well.
And Joe's music is that music from that he created in Telepasades? That music.
Yes,
When you're talking about Joe's music, oh, you're talking about that music. Oh,
yes,
yay! 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 Yay!
yes. His Telepasades. There, we used a portion of it on the first set. Now we're going to use a different portion of it on the second, because it's in four very large movements.
Mm.
So we used only one portion of one of the movements the first time. Now we're going to use the third movement this time.
Yay! And did you have any special response from his music?
Um, I do not know. We only asked for answers for the whole set
Mm.
as they listened to it. We didn't say which portion did you like better or whatever. We did get some individual responses about that, and because that's part of history, of course. And we called it the uh, Telepasades, the music of Telepasades, written by Joe. So they did have some comments. It was 22 minutes long, that portion. We're going to use another section, which is slightly longer this time. I think it's going to be 24 minutes.
Wonderful.
Wonderful. Thank you.
And
On the tape, that is, on the chip. We're going to do a portion of that live, but I'm talking about what we're